gentlemen, welcome to Wrestling's Greatest Podcast. Welcome to the Haas Pod. What an incredible interview we're going to have today. Of course, always I'm joined by the leader of the Haas Pod, Charlie Haas. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. I'm excited about today. This is going to be a really great podcast. A good friend of mine, and I got a lot of great questions to ask him. And man, I'm excited about this. So go ahead and let's do the intro and bring him in.
Man, this is exciting. He is the Michael Jordan of wrestling figure collecting. He's always ready. He's the man. He's Matt Cardona. What's going on, Matt?
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I'm glad we made it work.
Not a problem, man. Thanks so much. I know you're really busy, man. But I got to ask you a question, man. I mean, you have really, man, you've gone up and above and beyond, man, just recreating yourself. But something that I got to ask you, is it really true that you really think that I have more action figures than I really deserve?
Charlie, listen, we just did we call it the incarnation of domination. First of all, everyone deserves a figure, but you had a shit ton of figures. You were just in those Jax days, they just kept repainting you and giving you all these outfits. I'm like, I mean, listen, Charlie Haas is a hell of a competitor, but fuck, you had a lot. I mean, good for you, right? Those royalty checks must have been great.
Well, man, let me tell you something. So, this I have to give my, Randy Orton told me, he goes, Charlie, man, you want to make money? He goes, you don't like kissing ass, so that's evident. So what you got to do is, he's like, dude, just change your look. Man, that's when I would grow my hair out. I did the cornrows. I fucking had my hair. I had the singlet. I had the long tights. I had the trunks. So, man, every time I did that, they're like, man, we got to get another action figure of you. So, I mean, I was just trying
Great idea.
So and it worked, man. But when I heard that, I was like, man, that hurt. Fuck,
well, that's
man.
not, I mean, I meant in the sense that, listen, Charlie, we all know you did not get the opportunities that you deserve for sure. But if you look at your action figure history, it looks like you were fucking the next John Cena. That's how many you had.
Okay, so they created that six pack, man. The one where they had Orton, Cena, Shelton, and I. They had Rob Conway, and they had Renee Dupree in there.
Yes.
But I did not know until I just realized that they had two different packages.
Yes, there's a variant. There's a different version of it. Yeah.
Right, and I had no idea. So I mean, I went to go try to buy it. So did Shelton. It was like $160, but it was hard to find. I don't even know if I can find it right now.
Yeah, I was about to say it's one of those things where you can't just search eBay and it'll be there,
right?
Because it's tough to find for sure.
Yeah, man. So I had no idea they had a variant, man. I was like, well,
you had so many figures, you didn't even know all the figures you had. I mean, that's when you know you have a lot of action figures when you don't even know you have some of them.
That's exactly, man. You know what the sad part is? I had all those in a box up on the shelf, and I came home from work, and I'm like, and the box is ripped open. I'm like, son of a, and it was my kids, my boys got up there, and they're like, yeah, we found. I go, are you guys kidding me? This thing is in mint condition. I was so, and here's a true story too. Is I had the WWE tag titles that we won from the Guerreros. So they supposedly got stolen, and somehow one of them ended up on my wall. So anyways, so I had it in the shadow box, right? I came home, opened the garage door, and there's a ladder upside down. The wrestling mat is on the garage, and there's the belt hanging from the garage door. And I'm like, what the hell? Russ, Chuck, get out here now. It's like, try relax, man. They had a ladder match for the
There you go. I mean, listen, I can only imagine if like my dad was a wrestler and he had like a real title. Of course, that wouldn't be just on display. We'd have to use it. We'd have to fight for it.
But with your tag team, did you always feel like you were carrying Brian? Like I always felt like I was carrying Shelton. I mean, did you?
Listen, we started in the business in 2003 at the same wrestling school, but we didn't know each other before the school. We just so happened to both want to be wrestlers who grew up on Long Island. We kind of lived the same life, but 20 minutes apart. But when you're a kid, 20 minutes it's a long distance. You don't really know people from other towns. Right. And we viewed each other as competition in the wrestling school. I didn't have these dreams of being in a tag team. Everyone wants to be, unless you have like a brother that you're growing up with, you want to be like the singles guy. And then I met this guy. Right. He's the same look, same age. I'm like, fuck, like this is my competition. Yeah. And Mikey Whipwreck, our trainer, said, no, you guys are a tag team. And I was like, what? I don't want to tag with him. And he said the same thing. And then we realized we were both 18-year-old kids who were secretly still collecting wrestling figures. And that kind of broke the ice. And I guess the rest is
awesome, man. Yeah. No, that's great, man. I know. I mean, I'll even go one further. I mean, sometimes when we were tagging with, are we doing a 6-man with Kurt? I felt like I had to carry those two at the same time. So I know you probably felt the same way with Edge and Myers. So I mean, you know how it goes. Fuck, I mean, and I hope they all hear this, man. Seriously, because my shoulders are hurt still today from all that carrying. Fucking head. No, man. Funny story. When Shelton and I jumped over to Ring of Honor. When Shelton and I were over at Ring of Honor, and we were wrestling there, and for some reason I always end up doing the business, and for people to understand, that's doing the job, and one of the fans came out and he's like, I knew it, I told you Shelton never does the job. It's always Charlie. It's always the white guy. And that's what they said. And I was like, Shelton's like, you heard that? And he goes, holy shit. He goes, Charlie, I got to start getting pinned. I go, now you say that after fucking 10 years?
Yeah,
now
it's
you
been a
want to
while.
start getting pinned? Shit, man, so. Yeah, dude. So Mikey Whipwreck was your trainer. Yeah, because Russ and I started out on the out east with Iron Mike Sharp.
Yeah.
He had his school down in Asbury Park. So, we started right before Ring of Honor took off, but we were, we cut our teeth out with Jersey All Pro, CZW. We go up to Pennsylvania Championship Wrestling up in Rhode Island. So we were all over. And I remember, but I know Long Island, I'm familiar with that because of when I was at Seton Hall Wrestling, we'd go out and wrestle Hofstra a lot out there.
Right. Yes.
So,
yes.
The big wrestling school, man. And their head coach was Tommy Ryan, who now is the head coach at Ohio State, who was a tremendous wrestler at Iowa. Yeah. So, yeah, man, I miss the Northeast. I don't miss the weather, but I do miss the summer for the beaches, though. So
I think
you're in Florida.
One of the first times we, because we didn't do many indies before we got signed, but one of the first ones that we did outside of our home fed was Jersey All Pro. And I remember this is when you had gotten released the first time. So you were like the top guy on the show. You were like the main event. You were the guy on the poster and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, fuck, it's Charlie Haas. I have his action figure. But I didn't tell you that at the time.
That motherfucker doesn't deserve all 13. Fuck, man.
Well, no, I don't even know if you had you had some, then you got fired, then you came back, you got even more.
Yeah, I know, man.
That's how you do it.
I know, man.
That's how you do
it. I remember. Were you there when Randy was? We were in. It was up in Madison Square Garden. I think you guys maybe just started, man. I think you were there, and Orton just came in and he was sleeved with all the ink tattoos. And Vince put out that memo where he put out that memo where you had to get all your tattoos had to be approved by him because it was changing all the action figures.
Yes.
Because you had to go get and Jamie Noble goes, God damn it, Randy, you fucked up, man. He goes, look at your arms, they're all sleeved. And Randy goes, who the fuck's going to tell him, Jamie? And Jamie just sat there and didn't say anything. But Vince, sure enough, he was on TV and it's like, God damn it, no one ran that by the memo. Didn't he get the memo? But yeah, I mean, so Orton's like, man, he was a big, he would always say, man, change your look so you can you get more figures,
Yeah, I remember we had a similar meeting after, I think it was Ray. It was definitely Ray. He painted himself all silver to be like Silver Surfer. He's like, nobody can go paint their body silver. I'm thinking, well, who else is going to paint their body silver? It's like, and then he ended up getting action figures out of it. So good for him.
Yeah. Because he would always do the Marvel characters, right? He had the Captain America, he had the Hulk, he had all types of shit, man. I mean, that's the one he created. Yeah, he was the man. He was the man. So, oh man, yeah, some good times. We had some good times. But okay, so we're talking about social media, and I mean, man, what did social media mean to you 10 years ago? And what does it mean to you now, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly wasn't the first person to be on Twitter. I remember when The Miz was telling me about Twitter, I was like, who the fuck cares what I'm doing when I didn't understand it. I thought it was such a stupid idea. And I wasn't the first person to have like a web show. WWE was doing shows like Miz and Morrison had their own show.
Yeah, I remember that.
Had their own show. But you know how it is, Charlie. Like sometimes not everyone's going to be the top guy, and that's fine. That's fine. I wasn't the chosen one, and that's absolutely fine. I'm not complaining about that, but I was like, well, okay, I'm going to try to control my own destiny and do something about it. So I had this idea to start this YouTube show and to kind of show my personality, because I'm like, all right, well, I can't show anything in these 2-minute matches I'm having on TV.
Not at all.
So if I really go crazy on this Twitter, Instagram wasn't even around yet. If I go crazy on Twitter, just tweet things in character. If I put this YouTube show together where I'm kind of blending my real life with my wrestling character, maybe something will happen. I couldn't have imagined how big it would have gotten, but it definitely changed my career and my life, because I think, like I said, I wasn't the first person to be on social media, but I do believe I was the first person to prove that social media can be used to change a position in a major wrestling company, because I forced WWE to use me because the fans were so behind me. They were fucking chanting my name at shows I wasn't even at. So it's like, they had to just put me on.
It was absolutely an uprising. I remember when all that was happening, it was an uprising. Everybody was excited about it. And then, I know a lot of the fans of Zack Ryder and now of Matt Cardona it was just like, we need more. We need more. We want more. And we just never got that. But I'll tell you what's really exciting now is I feel like we're all getting that with Matt Cardona now. I mean, King of the Death Match, everything at GCW, seeing you at Impact Wrestling. I mean, this is an exciting time to be a fan of Matt Cardona.
Yeah. And trust me, it's a lot of fun for me too right now. I'll tell you, I'm having a lot of fun. I've said this a lot before. I'm not trying to prove people wrong. I don't I don't have this chip on my shoulder. I'm not trying to prove anybody wrong. I'm trying to prove myself right, my fans right. If you don't like me, fuck you. I don't care. If you come over, great. Glad to have you.
Fucking love it.
Glad to have you. But I'm not trying to win people over. I don't give a fuck.
No, and that's the thing is and that's my next question. I mean, I want to know, how did you come up with the slogan, prove supporters right, but not the doubters wrong?
It's just how I believe. I can't go through life being angry and being bitter. Now, trust me, I think I did invent the negative tweet. If you go back to 2012, when all my YouTube stuff went down the toilet, I think there's definitely some passive aggressive, bitter, negative tweets. Right. And then I realized after a while, being miserable at home, right? Like putting these stupid tweets out there, it's not making me any happier, right? It's not changing my position. So what's the point, right? I realized in this fucking crazy business, there are only a few things you can control. Let's say if you're in WWE, you can control your fucking physique. No one's going to tell you can't work out, right? So I got in as good a shape as I could. My gear, I always made sure I had good gear. No one was going to say you can't have good looking gear. And your attitude, no one can say you're not allowed to be in a good mood. So once I just focus on those three things, listen, I did the best I could with whatever position I was put in. If I was put in some fucking squash match with no entrance, I did the best I could. 2-segment match, best I could. And that's just how I kind of started living my life, and things started to change.
It's like, man, when they split me and Shelton up, and then the thing with Rico, we when they split us up, I was in limbo, and I know a lot of people are there, and I'm sitting there going, I was coming up like, I'll dress up as different characters, and I'm trying to think of, but I was so worried about, a singles wrestler of like, man, I don't have the move set that like a Rey Mysterio or like, Paul London, man. I mean, I'm not as athletic or acrobatic as these guys. These guys are just phenomenal athletes. And I'm like, and I was so worried about my move set, what moves I had to have and all that. And Arn Anderson would sit there and he goes, Charlie, when you quit worrying about that and you just figure out it's the work between the moves, it's going to click. And it finally did later on when I'm back down in the Indies. And that's where I just don't give a fuck anymore. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to ask for permission. I'm not, and I'm sure so I'm not going to ask for forgiveness. So what I'm going to do is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to tell you when I go out there, hey man, you're probably going to get a lot of people pissed off. I'm probably going to tell the fans to fuck off, and I don't need them because they were never there for me to begin with. And you know what? And they interact. They love it. So I've come to find that if I bring the fans into the match instead of doing all these flips and fucking Circus Olay bullshit, then they fucking love it and they hate me even more. And that's what and I'm like, dude, it's a lot easier to work that way. A lot easier.
And I have to agree with you 100% because coming onto the indie scene, I'm the same way. I don't have a quote unquote cool move set, and the guys are getting more athletic every generation. So I'm like, well, I can't compete on that level. How can I compete? And I just want to come through that curtain, whether you cheer me or boo me. I just want that reaction, but as times 10. I at GCW when they're throwing garbage in the ring at me afterwards, I've done my job. I don't care if there's a gif of me doing a cool move or not on the internet. I don't give a shit. I want the reaction. I want them to either love me or hate me.
Exactly, man. I mean, if I don't have hot dogs or popcorn thrown at me, then I'm pissed. I mean, that's it. I love it, man. It's fucking, that's what I look for, man. And and the crowd fucking loves that, man. Because no one interacts with them. And they want, it's like, they watch all the cool moves and these guys are, and like, God, they're fucking great athletes, but they're sitting there going, holy shit, man. They don't have a chance to breathe. And they're like, what the fuck did we just see? It's like, it was a car wreck and you're asking the witnesses what happened in the car wreck right after it happened. And no one knows what, but it's just, it's like, it's the work in between, man. And it's the body language and it's the fucking facials and it's the slowing it down, and finally, that's what Arn Anderson was preaching all those years, man, because I go back and I'm like, him and Tully were the fucking best at it, the best.
Oh, 100%.
So dude, so your podcast is taking off, man. I'm so proud of you about that. But I'm gonna do. what have you, okay, and it's all because you know the major podcast, the action figure list. What have you learned most about creating your own action figure line?
Well, I mean, listen, the podcast is something that we started it while we were still in WWE. We pitched it to WWE.
I remember.
We said, hey,
yeah, I remember you doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. We pitched it and WWE, they didn't want it. They didn't see anything. They didn't want to do podcasts. They didn't want to do anything with collectibles. So like, fuck, let's just do it as Matt and Brian. We were still in WWE doing it. So we were very careful. You know, we didn't want to use IP. Like we couldn't say Zach and Kurt on certain things. We couldn't put our likeness on merch. But then when we got fired and we're in the middle of this pandemic and there's nowhere to even work, thank God we still have this podcast as Matt and Brian, because if it was Zach and Kurt, it would have been gone instantly. They would have owned it. So we were still able to pay the bills because we had this podcast and our fans were supporting us. So like, I'm so grateful for that, for the fans, for helping us out when literally we couldn't go work anywhere. And the podcast became our work, and we doubled down and we started doing more content. We figured out how the fuck can we make our own action figures, and we did. It's been wild, a wild learning experience, because it's one of my passions. It's something I just never grew out of. And listen, and if I would have came into the locker room when I debuted in 2007 with all the figures I bought on the road, I would have been kicked out of the locker room. It's times are changing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like now it's cool. Now it's cool to collect things, and people are, whether it be video games or comics or action figures.
Yeah.
It's just a generational change, because, you know, my generation, we grew up on the action figures and the ice cream bars and the you know, the bed sheets. When I like the veterans of the locker room, when I got there, you know, Bob Holly, Undertaker, they didn't have fucking ice cream bars when they were kids.
No, not at all.
You know, so
they
couldn't relate. And so I'm not saying like it was better. It's better now than it was then. It's just different time, different generation.
Right. No, I know. I grew up in the time of underoos, so I definitely understand what you're saying. No, I was like, you know, my action figures I had were the original, like the Hulk, the Sheik, Nikolai Volkov, where they had the one pose, they couldn't move, and that was my first action figures. And I was like in 7th, 8th grade, I'm going and buying these, and people are like, aren't you a little too old for these? But dude, I was like, man, I don't care, man. That was my thing, man. I was a fan of pro wrestling since, I saw Snuka getting pile driven by Ray Crippler Stevens on the fucking cement, So yeah, man, that was my LJMs, baby. So yeah, but could you have imagined, that the figure styles of yesterday would make a return though? So strong as they are now.
Nostalgia is in, right? Like people just want to relive the glory days. And, so when we get released, we can't wrestle. And I'm thinking, well, shit, who's going to be buying collectibles? They're not going to listen to this podcast about collectibles. It was the fucking opposite, because people, they were so like, they just wanted some good times, some good memories. So that's what they were doing. That's exactly what they were doing. They were buying the toys, the baseball cards they had when they were a kid. And our podcast just blew up. We couldn't have ever imagined that during this time where the world is crumbling apart and people are dying and you can't leave your house, that people would start going on eBay and buying all their childhood toys. And we just happen to be the voice of this podcast, kind of promoting all that.
Oh, when COVID hit and we were all stuck at the house, that's when I started watching major wrestling figure podcasts. And you talk about resurrecting like my childhood, and I blame it on you, Cardona. I blame it on you for doing it. I got a whole room in my house. We're moved in a new house, and it's all shut in one room, and the door has to be shut. But specifically with the Rhythm and Blues, Greg Valentine. Yeah, I remember seeing that in that picture in that WWF magazine when I was a kid, and I hadn't thought about that until y'all brought that up, and now I really, you own it. And but speaking of that, like having something like that, what's missing in your collection? But what is Matt Cardona like out on the look for?
Yeah, so I'm at this point, like I'm just looking for whatever, whether it be things that I had, like a lot of the figures I have. Okay, listen, like that Greg Haber Valentine, it's worth a lot of money for sure. I definitely have some things that are valuable. There are other things I have that I couldn't even give away. They're worth nothing, but I love them. Like there's this line of WWF figures from the late 90s called Stomp, where they're like in like army outfits with the guns. And then there's like underwater ones where it's like the headbangers and like underwater gear. Garbage figures. They're worth nothing, but they're some of my favorite ones. So like I rebought them all. I have them in mint condition. It's like it's Steve Austin with the beret and the gun.
Yeah.
I couldn't give it away. It's valueless. But to me, it's worth a lot because of the sentimental value, which I think sometimes is more important.
Right.
Yeah. Man, so here's something. So I always wanted, man, to have an action figure of me and my brother, man. So is that possible to ever get done? You know,
I absolutely think so, because there are so many companies now who are starting up and making their own toys. Like, fuck, if we're doing it, there's definitely other companies do it, and there for sure other wrestling companies do it, and they're doing like smaller scale things because they don't have to make 50,000 units to ship to Walmart and Target. They'll make maybe 1,000 or 2,000, just sell them online directly to the customer. So actually, when this interview is over, I'll put you in contact with someone who could definitely make that 2-pack happen.
Yeah, 100%. I would love that, man. Hell yeah, I would love that. You know, heck yeah,
100%.
That'd be great. Dude, that'd be great. Thank you, man. Oh my God, that'd be awesome. That's something like, you know, because we signed with WWE, where I mean, they announced that they were going to do Team Angle, everything. You know, we were under the developmental contract, and then he died right 3 months before we're supposed to debut. Right. So yeah, if I could do that, I would love that, man. That's something I always want. We never had, So
absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, are you into the wrestling cards too? Are you getting into that?
So I have been getting into them because, of course, as a kid, I had them, and wrestling cards were, you talk about things that had no value. I would say 2.5 years ago, wrestling cards had zero value. Nobody gave a shit. And all of a sudden this COVID hits, and holy shit, did the value spike dramatically. It's insane. So yes, I do have some wrestling cards, like the whole, like the grading of the cards and those nice slabs. It's unbelievable the value that some of these cards are going for, when just a few years ago you couldn't give them away. It's unbelievable.
Right.
Like, but I feel bad for kids now. Like, a kid can't go into Walmart or Target and buy WWE cards or AEW cards or even baseball cards because there's people waiting outside when the store opens to buy them by the case.
Yeah, you're right.
So I feel bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's true. Very true.
A wild time.
Hey, let me ask you, man. Okay, so you know WrestleMania weekend. This is going to be the first time that you are not going to be under the WWE banner, man. What's that like for you, man? Realizing that coming up.
So, actually, last year was the first. Last year, and I went to WrestleCon. It was my first WrestleCon last year.
So last year was the first.
Yeah, I was like, how do I do this? Like, I don't know what to do, because I'm learning as I go, because once I got released, I knew it was the best thing for me. I knew I had to go out and be my own boss and hustle, and it would be a grind. And I love doing that stuff. So it's fine. But I had to teach myself, and I made a lot of mistakes early on, but that's how you learn. That's how you grow. Right. This year for WrestleCon, I'm going to be more than prepared. I say I'm always ready, but I'll be even more always ready. But does it suck that I'm not on the show? Does it? Of course. Listen, everyone dreams of being at WrestleMania. It's great. It's cool. And luckily, I'm fortunate enough that I had some WrestleMania moments. Trust me, I was also in a lot of like the Jabroni Battle Royal beforehand a lot too.
Yeah, but you know what's even worse than that is being on the roster and not even being in the Jabroni fucking Battle Royal. That's the fucking worst. And that's happened to me. Dude, there's nothing worse than that when you're seeing everybody out there and because you piss some rider off or somebody, and they're not, and you're not even on the Jabroni Battle Royal, but you're on the roster. You're like, what?
I remember. So it's WrestleMania. I believe it's 29 in. They say New York, but it's really New Jersey. So technically it's supposed to be like my hometown WrestleMania. This is like right after the YouTube stuff started dying out. So I'm already bummed out and kind of miserable. And then I'm not on the show at all, not on the pre-show. And I watched the show from Mrs. Family Skybox. I just sat up there like a loser watching the show from Mrs. Family Sky. I'm like, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Well, Well, it sucked is, so it's we're WrestleMania at Houston, and Jackie is not with the company, but they bring her back for like the fucking Battle Royal or whatever. And I'm with the company, and I'm not even in the Jabroni fucking Battle Royal. I'm like, holy fuck, man, I must have really pissed somebody off. So
Charlie, I don't know if you remember this, but we wrestled in a legendary access match at that WrestleMania.
I do remember that, man. I definitely remember that, man. Yeah, and that was a hell of a match. But
I tell this story all the time because at that point, Hawkins and Ryder, we had Edge got hurt or took a vacation, so they split us from Edge, and then maybe like the fall of that year, the previous year, Vince is like, all right, we're gonna split you guys up. You guys are gonna be singles guys. We're gonna send you to Stanford, meet with the writers, come up with cool stuff. We're like, okay, cool. So all right, so then it's November, December, January, February, March, April, whatever. We haven't done shit. We haven't done anything. We don't get brought to TV, nothing. And then I have to have this match with you, and I'm like blown up in like 10 seconds. I'm like sky high, blown up. where I even think like, fuck, I think I should fake an injury right now. I don't know if I can finish this match. Like that's how, like, I've never been so blown up in my life. I remember like you had the bump and feed for your comeback, and like I could not get up. My legs would not move. I'm like picking myself up the ropes like it's like Rocky and like fucking Drago. I like cannot get up. I was so blown up.
Was I doing the phantom bumps for you? I just bumping
no,
for
you were fucking. You were the baby face. I was doing the bump and feed, but I wasn't feeding. I wasn't feeding. I was bump, feed, bump, feed.
Oh man!
No,
All right,
sky high.
Okay. Okay. Let's talk about the match that we had with you and Myers, man. I remember putting you in the House of Pain on that match.
Oh, bro, I have another funny story about that too.
All right, let me hear it. Yeah, I remember that one. We talked about that.
We weren't called up yet. It was like, we were in Deep South, and we go on a loop and whatever. We wrestled you and Charlie, and yes, you put me in the House of Pain, but I don't know if you like slipped off my boot and like you kind of like slipped, and like the people the first couple of rows started like laughing. So then when you gave it to me again, holy shit! It's like my feet touched the back of my head. I thought I was gonna fucking die.
I remember hitting that House of Pain on you, and I see Myers like trying to reach up for the tag, and I see his arm just getting smaller, and I was like, "What the fuck, man?" I was like,
I don't know if it was like the patent leather boots I had, but like you kind of like slipped as you put it on.
Yeah,
and like there was a little like trickle of laughter, and then you fucking got it. Holy shit, baby!
Like, man, that's dude. I mean, so how was Deep South? Because I was down at when we got brought up to Memphis, and then they shut Memphis down. Here's the funny story. They had this is why one of the reasons why they shut Memphis down. They had Bradshaw and Farouk come in to wrestle Russ and I. They just announced we were going to do Team Angle, and they wanted to see where we were. So they sent APA in. And Terry Golden, who was running Memphis Championship Wrestling, he was like, "Hey, I want you guys to take liberties on the Hots boys, man. They're young, they're cocky, whatever." So JBL goes, "What?" He goes, "Yeah." So JBL goes, we go on the match, and they bump and feed all over for us, and then and we were the Mid-South Tag Team Champions, and they were supposed to win. JBL goes, "Hit me with your finish." I go, "What?" He goes, "Hit me with your finish and pin me. Hurry up." So we did it, dude. That promoter was so pissed. Because we had a good relationship with JBL and Ron, and they went back to JR and they said, "Hey, they're treating your boys fucking like shit down there. They wanted us to beat them up and all that." And then the next week they shut it down, man.
Holy
shit.
They're
like if you're gonna and it's crazy because they sent that's when they sent Rosie and or Umaga and Rosie or Matt, Steve Bradley, Lance Cade, and then Russ and I. They shipped us off to Cincinnati, so we were part of HWA. And then they shut that down after the ECW and the WCW, ventures they bought into. And then I made that cut, and it was right after wrestling. And I got sent to OBW. So I knew what those three were, but how was Deep South? I mean, what was it like?
It was fucking wild, dude. And like you hear if any weird horror story you hear, it's probably true. But I loved it. At the time, I just thought, okay, this is how you trained in WWE. I just thought that's how it was. It was tough. It was rough. But I will say this, Bill DeMott, he made me unfuckwithable. Like mentally, like I couldn't get fucked. Like he broke us down. And I think that's what you need in this business. You need to be able to take a lot of shit.
Yeah, they got to callous your skin. You got to be callous.
And I will always credit Bill for that. Now, some things were a little unorthodox. Like for instance, there's some pictures floating on Google of me sitting in the corner with a jelly donut in my mouth and Luke Gallows naked, give me a stink face. There's a lot of weird stuff like that. But
I never saw that on Cornette. Cornette never did that, but yeah.
But I loved it. That was like one of the greatest. It was only a year. I was only there for a year. It was one of the greatest years of my life. It was such a learning experience. I loved it. I can understand why some people hated it. Trust me, there were definitely times where I was like, holy shit, like I'm afraid to go to practice tomorrow. Like it's good. I don't know what they're going to do to me tomorrow, but fuck, it just made me like who I am. It was so much fun looking back. And even now, like when we have shows in the Atlanta area, I always drive through like McDonough, Georgia, where we lived. And like, cause it was so fucking fun to me. And it was also the first time I lived away from my parents. Cause it was like, I was 21 when I moved down there. The college that I went to was like bullshit community college. So my parents would pay for my wrestling school. So this was like my college. Like Deep South in McDonough, Georgia was me going away to college. We were, as hard as practice was, we'd all go out and hang out together and party together. It was one like big family.
Yeah, you know what? And you're so right. I know when we were in Memphis, we got sent down there and we had We had the Mean Street Posse was down there, you know, and then you had Joey Abs just thrown in there with the Mean Street Posse. We had the Dups. And then you had Brian Danielson, fucking Brian Kendrick, you know, Spanky, Shooter Schultz, Lance Cade, and then the Samoans, Eki and Umaga and Rosie, and then Joey Matthews and Christian York, and then Russ. We all lived in the same apartment complex, and it was like, dude, it was all in the same, you know, the same apartment complex, but the same wing of it, you know, and it was cul-de-sac, and it was so much fun. I mean, it was like they were so crazy. They had this thing called antiquing. And they would everyone be getting ready to get dressed, and you'd be like, "Hey man, come on, we're doing a toast for God," and we'd all have like cups of flour, and fucking one person did have, and they go, "Ready, cheers," and we'd all fucking just douse them. They're all, you know, usually it was the girl, you know, or like they were in the shower, and all of a sudden, man, you fucking you rip open the shower and you throw flour on it, and flour with water does not mix at all, man. And they're trying to get out of their eyes, and you hit them again with it. It got so bad, and then we would round up the Canadian geese and put them in their people's bedrooms. Where we did the spot show, come home and there's goose shit all over the fucking bed floor. God. I mean, it was fucking great, dude. Dude, there was some great ribs, but I mean, it was the best time of my life, man. The best time of our lives. Oh my God, I would go back in a second, man. Go back.
I mean, think about it. You're getting paid to learn how to wrestle for WWE. You're partying with your friends. You're going to the gym. You don't really have many responsibilities. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love, man. Yeah, it's great, man. And you're making some money more than you did on the indies. So you know, you're living it, man. You know, it was fucking great.
I was getting $500 a week. I thought I was rich. I was a pizza delivery boy before that, and now I'm getting paid to wrestle $500 a week. I thought I was a millionaire.
When I started with Jersey All Pro, they would pay us like, hey, we don't have any money, but we can give you slices of pizza on the way home. Yeah. I mean, so we wrestle for free, man. I mean, we'd wrestle for fucking free. But yeah, dude, $500. And I remember Bruce Pritchard calling. He's like, hey, we're gonna up you guys up to $750. I was like, holy shit, $750 a week, man. Did Johnny, was he the one that hired you?
Yeah. So I had a weird tryout. There was a WWE.com like tryout application thing. And of course, why wouldn't you sign up for that? And there was a house show on Long Island, and they brought whatever it was, 20 people down. And it was me, Brian Myers, a couple other guys. And one of those guys was Bobby Fish. And, you know, we did some cardio stuff. We did some matches, some promos. I did not think that I did well. I was like, but you know what? I'm 20 years old, got a WWE tryout. I know what to do better next time. And I even remember Tommy Dreamer was running the whole tryout. And he's like, if anyone gets anything out of this, it's this guy. And he pointed to Bobby Fish. And Bobby did great. And this was 2006. Yeah. Bobby doesn't get hired. And like the next week, I'm pumping gas, and Tommy Dreamer calls and offers us a job. I'm like, what? We're getting hired off this tryout? Like, fuck, whatever, cool. Like, I'm not gonna say no. I was 20 years old when we got signed.
Yeah, that's
great. Think Tommy thought that Brian and I were about to finish college, but as soon as he said, like, he's like, oh, just finish the year. I think he thought we were graduating. We were just finishing our third year. He's like, just finish and then come down to Deep South in May. I fucking didn't go back to class. No fucking, I quit my job that next day and just party for the next 3 months. And I was still getting $500 a month, $500 a week. I was like, this is incredible. I'm living at home with my parents. I'm not working. I'm going to be in WWE. Like, I'm going to be in their developmental in 3 months, and I'm getting $500 a week now. This is great.
No, that's fucking great, man. I know our first, did you guys do a dark match? Because our first dark match was Madison Square Garden. And we were like, holy shit, man. And I remember, dude, funny story. So we did our dark match. They had us go over, which was unheard of. But Jerry Briscoe and JR wanted to see us because we're Oklahoma boys. So Russ goes and pins the guy, but he puts his hands in the air and he goes 1, 2, 3 at the same time. They're pinning it. So, you know, and he didn't think anything of it. And, you know, and all of a sudden we walk through the gorilla and I see Billy Gunn, man. And DX was still there. And Billy Gunn goes, come here. He goes, you motherfucker. He goes, that guy's doing a job for you, and you're out there fucking insulting him. Put your hands up, 1, 2. I go, no, sir, that was my brother. I go, and Russ looked up, and I go, Russ, man, Billy wants to talk to you real quick, man. And I ran away, and Russ goes, yeah, what's up, Billy? And he goes, and Billy just shooted in his ass. I was like, man, I was like, sorry, Russ, but I'm not taking that ass with him. But that's funny. Dude,
that's funny you say the Garden, because my first. Before that, I even got signed. I had I was a local talent at Madison Square Garden the year before, and I wrestled Matt Morgan, and it was his debut as like when he was doing the stuttering gimmick. he was more nervous than I was. I remember we were going over it backstage and like, it was like ding, ding, ding. He would like shove me into the corner, but he kept practicing the pushes like backstage on the floor, Madison Square Garden. He like brought me around a corner so no one would see, just kept practicing his pushes. I was like, holy shit.
Fuck, man. Like Matt's doing good. He's a mayor now down in Florida.
Matt, I love Matt. I talk to Matt pretty often. He's a great dude.
Great guy, man. I mean, that's what I love about this business. You meet so many great people, man, that come in and out of your lives, and they come back in your lives. And man, I was gonna say, so I mean, for a long time, Jackie and I traveled all over, man. Even after we got released, they released us on our honeymoon, and we ended up going to Italy and living there for 8 months. Working for Rikishi. Yeah, it was a great time. But how is I gotta ask you, how is it to work with Chelsea on the road, man? I mean, you're
listen. I think it's cool. I dig it. We don't have the same schedule, so sometimes we're not together, which I kind of like. I even at the end of my run in WWE, I like driving by myself. Because if you're on the road so often, like that's the normalcy. Right. So I want to do what I want to do. I don't want to compromise. I want to wake up when I want to wake up. I want to eat when and where I want to eat. I want to go to the gym maybe I want an off day, and that's why I just love riding by myself. So sometimes now with Chelsea, it's like, oh fuck, like Chelsea, like she just wants to get home or back to a hotel. I'm like, babe, I need to get like my next meal in. We need to find a Denny's open somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I know, man. Hey, you ever do the Waffle House, man? We would always get there late. We're like, hey, can you steam the hash browns?
Bro, 100%.
I mean, can we do the chicken? Make sure it's a little dry. We can make the grease. I mean, that's as healthy as we get it. I mean, people are like, they're like, what do you mean steam the hash browns? I go, just take the bowl, put some ice on it, and just put it over.
That Waffle House is my spot, and I do the exact same thing. The steamed hash browns, the dry chicken. It's the best, and then plus you can like watch them cook it. You're like, oh, not too much oil. Don't use that much oil. It's great.
I mean, no, it's just stuff that we have to adapt to. People understand because I mean, not only is it the working out, but it's the diet, man, on the road, and it's hard to do. With the fast. Now, it's easier now than it was back when we were starting. I can say that though.
But towards the end, like I kind of had it down where like I'd find like a Denny's or I had whatever for breakfast, and then wherever like my lunch was, I'd make sure to like stock up for like the rest of the day. So let's say it was Chipotle or out whatever it was, I would get like 2 or 3 more meals just so I didn't have to stop. Like because some towns you have to eat fast food, you have to eat Subway, or you have to eat like beef jerky at the fucking gas station. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, definitely. Man, definitely. Well, hey, Matt, real quick, man, let us know what are you going to be doing at WrestleMania? Where are you going to be and where can they see? Because we're in Dallas, that's where I live. I'm going to be all over the place. So, where are the fans going to see it? And let me ask you, do you think this year's going to be a lot better than last year's?
Oh yeah, I think for sure, because I think everything's going to be a lot more open. I think the fans are hungry. The international fans are going to be here too, and you know how important they are when it comes to like WrestleMania weeks. So I will be at WrestleCon on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and Thursday nights we have a live Major Wrestling for a podcast, so that's going to be really fun. But
where's that at?
That's at the Scout in the Statler Hotel. We're gonna have it there.
Yeah, dude, I know exactly. We had a SWE show. That's the company that I'm working for. Like it's kind of taking off SWE World Class. Yeah, I know exactly what the Statler. It's great facility.
And then I'm definitely doing. There's so much fucking wrestling going. I know for a fact I'm doing GCW. I think there's an Impact show. I don't even know how many matches I'll be doing. I think one day I'm doing a show at 1 p.m. and then going right to my gimmick table at WrestleCon in my gear, because this is the hustle, baby. This is the time to make that money,
It is, man. It is. How do you get your shirts out before Pro Wrestling Tees released? That's what's your hookup on that, man? Because I just started with Pro Wrestling Tees, and I'm like, they're like, and I need to get it before release.
Yeah. So what I do is I send the artwork to them beforehand, and I say, hey, and I order them like directly first. And I say, put it out this day. Cause I want to, if I go to a show and I want to release it that day, I got to already have it. So I get it made for me first. And it's already in their system. So you just drop it this day.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I didn't know, man.
There's a whole, I love Pro Wrestling Tees, man. Cause I hate having to carry shirts at these shows. So I just say, hey, just go to Pro Wrestling Tees. Cause like when I first got released, I bought all these shirts and all these sizes, right? Like small to triple XL. And then every fucking show I'm carrying around these fucking triple XLs I can't sell, the one small. When I finally sold them, I said, fuck this. I'm never bringing shirts again to shows. Just go to Pro Wrestling Tees.
I'm the same way, man, because it's just an added bag, and usually, you have to pay for the fucking travel on it. So it's ridiculous.
I'm an 8x10 and photo op guy. That's the way to go.
I hear you, man. I hear, yeah. Oh man,
I got one for you. Sure. It's kind of fun. So much happening here recently. I'm curious, how excited were you for the new Ghostbuster movie, and what'd you think of it?
Oh yeah, so I saw it opening night. I really liked it. I've been waiting since, what was it, 1989 for that for a sequel. I didn't think we'd ever get it. I'm a huge Ghostbuster fan, so I loved it. I have to watch it again to really catch a lot of the Easter eggs and stuff like that. But it's super cool. And like I said, nostalgia's in. All these things are in. Like Ghostbusters are in. Old school wrestling in, Star Wars, everything that I liked as a kid is in. So it's fun. And, maybe Chelsea and I will have kids, and then I should start stocking up on the toys now, so I can have them ready for them.
My son Chuck is he's a big the Marvel and the DC collects them all, man. He has them all. So, and he's 9 years old. So, and I was a Star Wars guy. So I have my original figures from 1977 and from all the way up to 79. I have the Boba Fett where you push the button and the bullet would shoot.
Oh man, those are some rare ones right there.
Yeah, and the lightsaber that would come out and would extend. Dude, I was the one that would cut out the little Kenner coins, send them in. I got the Anakin where the Darth Vader helmet would come off. Nice. So that was mine, and then finally the LJMs came in. So, but yeah, that's where. So I love watching the Disney, man, and the Book of Boba Fett, all the stuff going on right now. So
yeah, I was just watching Boba Fett when I was doing cardio. That's what I do to get my cardio done. Is watch that Boba Fett.
Yeah, man. Oh, I cannot wait for the Obi-Wan fucking show to come out, because
it's fucking great.
Because they're gonna have Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen. They're gonna both be in it. So
it's crazy that a decade ago this was all over, and now it's coming back and it's bigger than ever.
It's a fun time.
Huge, man. Oh, it's a fun time. All right, man. Well, Matt, man, we appreciate you, man. And Kurt, you want to come say hi real quick? Hold on, come on. My man, he's my manager. He's my right hand man. But come say hi.
What's up, man?
Oh, what's up? Oh, I know Kurt. What's up, dude?
Yeah. What's up?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
I graduated from airport visits to being business managers now.
I love it. I know Kurt for a long time.
I'm helping Charlie with all of his bookings now since that Impact show.
Go ahead, tell me.
Yeah, so it's figure fate how I met Charlie. Believe it or not, 2003 when that first World's Greatest Tag Team figure comes out, my first job out of high school is Toys R Us.
Yeah,
and he's living in the same city where the Jaden's Toys is, the blog you just did.
Yeah.
So there was a Toys R Us behind that mall, and that was my first job out of high school. And he showed up, and I didn't know what Charlie Haas would be doing at my Toys R Us. So I fixed the figures on the wall, so where the Adrenaline 2-packs all were lined up with the World's Greatest Tag Team. And I went up to him. He was looking for toys for his daughter, and I went up to him and I go, "Hey, Mr. Haas, I'm a big fan. I just want you to know your figures are over here in the action figures. I got them lined up for you." And he was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah." And he walked through and goes, "Man, it looks good right there." And so he bought one of the 2-packs, and then I bought one. He signed it for me, and we ended up being friends ever since. And now I'm his manager. So here we are.
I love it. That's fucking great. That's a great story. I fucking love that.
Yeah, but he would let me I want to say hello to you. You know what a big fan I am of yours. I'm so proud of you, man. You were killing it, dude. I can't congratulate you enough on all your success. And obviously looking forward to seeing you here in Dallas Wrestlemania week, and I'll be everywhere you are. So looking forward to it, man.
Bro. I appreciate the support all these years. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir, man. All the best. I'll see you soon.
See you, man.
All right, man. Thanks.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much.
No, thank you, Charlie. This is a lot of fun, dude.
Oh, man. Yeah, man. I hope we changed it up. It's a little different. I mean, I know how it is. You get the podcast, and it seems like you're telling the same story over and over. So, man, I just wanted to make it fun for you, man. And I just had some main questions I'd ask, about the action figures that I don't deserve. So I just really wanted to get that out there.
I'm glad we could reminisce about that match where I was so blown up, because I talk about it so much. I don't know if you remember this, but you came out with like a video camera. So there's got to be footage of that match somewhere. I'd love to see it if you have.
You know what? No, I have, dude. I have all that stuff. And the thing, yeah. So I will look for that, because I think it was the WrestleMania Access in Houston, the one that Jackie that was in, and I couldn't even I made the access card, but I couldn't make the jabroni fucking.
No, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's where we wrestle, and that's
Yeah.
the match where I'm so blown up I almost fake an injury. I gotta see this footage.
Yeah, I will definitely look for it, man, and pull it out, man.
Hell yeah, dude. That's some YouTube. We should put it on YouTube and do some commentary over it.
We'll definitely do that.
We have to do that, Charlie. 100%.
All right, man. Hey, man, thanks for everything, man. And man, I'll see you down the road. Hopefully, we'll
Yes.
our paths will cross soon.
All right, guys. See you later.
All right, there. All right, man.
Take care, man.
Bye.